Are you registering with FMCSA for the first time? Are you expanding your existing operations to offer additional services? Then let's learn about the requirements for operating authority. Depending on the type of business you operate, what you transport, and if you receive payment for transporting property or passengers or arranging for the transportation of property or household goods, you may need to obtain Interstate Operating Authority along with a USDOT number. This video presents an overview of operating authority, what it is, if and how it impacts you, and what you need to know before you apply. It does not provide information on the different types of operating authority. Look out for additional videos which describe these types, including motor carriers of property, passengers, and household goods, as well as brokers and freight forwarders. While FMCSA oversees safety compliance for motor carriers operating in interstate commerce, you will need operating authority to carry out certain operations or transportation services your business offers. The type of operation your company runs, where your vehicles operate, and the cargo you carry or handle, whether you transport it directly or arrange for its transportation, helps determine what type of operating authority you need before you can conduct business. In addition, if you receive payment for transporting people or property as part of a continuous interstate movement, you are most likely operating for compensation or for hire and are subject to operating authority requirements. But if you transport your own cargo, usually as part of a business that produces, uses, sells, and/or buys that cargo, you are considered a private carrier and are not required to have operating authority. If the people or property you transport are traveling in a constant interstate movement, even though your vehicle operates exclusively in your business's domicile state, you may still be required to obtain operating authority. Only if you are transporting people and property whose original and final destinations are within your home state, and you never cross state lines, would your operation be intrastate, and you would not need operating authority. Interstate transportation, whether by truck or bus, is determined by the original shipper's fixed and persisting intent when they shipped the goods or began their travels, respectively. If the intent is to cross state lines, the operation is considered interstate. More information about whether a specific operation is interstate in nature or conducted for compensation is available on FMCSA's website and in Parts 365 and 390 of the Code of Federal Regulations. There are some operations where you may be exempt from having operating authority. The exemptions are based on where you will operate vehicles, while others are based on what type of property you will transport. You can learn more about these statutory exemptions in Title 49 of the United States Code, Section 13506. Operating authority is tracked through a motor carrier, MC, or freight forwarder, FF, docket number. Depending on the type of operating authority you need, you will be required to maintain specific levels of financial responsibility in the form of insurance, surety bonds, or trust fund agreements, and designate a process agent. If running multiple operations or transportation services, your business may require more than one type of operating authority. If you transport property in interstate commerce for compensation, meaning you get paid to do it, but would also like to transport passengers in interstate commerce for compensation, you will need to obtain both motor carrier property and motor carrier passenger operating authority. Now, let's go over the application process for operating authority. The process has three main steps: registering for operating authority, providing the required insurance forms, and designating a process agent through the BOC3 form. FMCSA will only issue you operating authority after all three steps are complete, and FMCSA has determined that you are willing and able to meet all the statutory and regulatory requirements. If this is the first time you're registering for operating authority, you must apply using the Unified Registration System, or URS. If you are an existing company looking to add a different type of operating authority to your business, you can apply online using the SAFER system. Upload the appropriate OP series form to our website, ask.fmcsa.dot.gov, where you will receive a confirmation number by email, or fax the forms to 202-366-3477. You may also send the forms to FMCSA via U.S. mail. There is a filing fee of $300 for each type of operating authority. Please note that FMCSA does not issue refunds for incorrect applications, so be sure you are applying for the correct authority type. Before the agency issues you operating authority, you must have provided FMCSA the required insurance forms. The forms are specific to the type of operating authority you have. Insurance companies or financial institutions must electronically file these forms with FMCSA on your behalf. It is your responsibility to ensure FMCSA receives the required forms. You must also designate a process agent, which is someone authorized to accept service of enforcement or court documents the agency or other interested parties may serve upon you. Since operating authority is a nationwide license to conduct business, you are required to designate an agent in each of the 48 contiguous states if you operate in any of the lower 48. Interstate operators outside of the lower 48, if not subject to exemption, only need to file the designation of a process agent for the state or jurisdiction they operate. To do this, you must have one BOC3 form on file submitted by a process agent or by what's called a blanket company. Blanket companies have process agents in every state and will electronically designate the process agents for you. FMCSA maintains a list of approved blanket companies. This list is available on the L&I public website under Blanket Companies. You will receive a grant letter after FMCSA processes and accepts your application. Insurance companies and blanket companies will use the MC or FF docket number to make the appropriate filings on your behalf to complete the application process. If these filings are not made within 90 days from the date the application was published in the FMCSA Register, you will be notified the application was dismissed. It generally takes between 20 and 25 business days from the date you apply to complete the operating authority application process if using the URS. The process will be longer if you mail your application to FMCSA. Because all motor carriers, brokers, and freight forwarders must demonstrate a willingness and ability to comply with applicable statutes and regulations to obtain and maintain operating authority, FMCSA may require additional time to process the application. FMCSA will notify you if additional time is expected or if you need to submit more information to process your application. Once FMCSA has completed its review or any necessary investigation, your application will be published in the FMCSA Register. This begins a mandatory 10 calendar day protest period. During this time, any individual can file a protest with FMCSA opposing your application on the basis that you are not able to satisfy the statutory and regulatory requirements for registration. If any protests are filed, FMCSA will inform you of the adjudication process, which is outlined in Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 365. FMCSA will only issue you operating authority after the application has been successfully processed. The required insurance and designation of process agent forms have been electronically filed with FMCSA, and the protest period has ended without any protests. Your operating authority will be in the form of a certificate for motor carriers, permit for freight forwarders, or license for brokers. Please note, the official record of your operating authority registration is found on the licensing and insurance system once the certificate, permit, or license is generated. Once the L&I system reflects FMCSA has issued the certificate, permit, or license, you are authorized to commence operations. You can check the status of your application at any time using the L&I public website. Choose Carrier Search from the menu and click on Go. Enter the MC or USDOT number, then click HTML under View Details to see the status of your authority. And please refer to the How to Register with FMCSA video that walks you through the application process using the URS. It's important to understand the operating authority requirements before beginning or expanding your business operations. If you require additional information, please contact us via email or chat by visiting ask.fmcsa.dot.gov. Use the links at the top of the page and then scroll down to the bottom to start your email or chat. You may also call us at 800-832-5660. Thank you.